To that breaking news in Minneapolis, where protesters have forced their way inside of a police precinct, which is now on fire. You can see the flames right there. Demonstrators there are throwing rocks, smashing glass, and gathering in large groups. Their message? They want justice after the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man who was held to the ground by an officer and died in police custody. His death is sparking protests all across the country this week, including right here in Portland. In fact, let's take a live look at that demonstration going on as we speak. This is in downtown Portland. All right, we can see lots of signs and a few demonstrators still out there. They've been out there for hours now, at one point lying in the streets, and many people holding signs, also marching in the streets. This is all unfolding near Southwest 3rd and Main. And now we want to turn to our Fox 12's Camilla Ortiz with the very latest on these protests and how local law enforcement is responding tonight. Camilla?
Yeah, well, Bonnie, protesters are outside of the Portland Police Bureau downtown tonight, standing in solidarity with protesters across the country. They're calling for the officers involved with George Floyd's death to be charged and convicted. Protesters say this is an occupation and they plan on staying out there for an undetermined amount of time.
Awareness needs to be raised. People need to know what happened. I feel like, all these people here, they're here driven by what happened because we're human and we have souls. And a lot of us are in disbelief that this is still happening. These cops need to be held accountable. It's one thing to be fired, but to not be arrested and charged, that's a problem. You're literally murdering people.
Today, Portland's police chief Jamie Resch tweeted out this message saying, in part, the actions and tactics displayed on the video do not represent our profession's values and are contrary to our fundamental duty to protect and serve. This incident strengthens our resolve to work even harder to earn the trust of our community, especially with persons of color. Chief Resch is on mandatory unpaid furlough leave today, but we talked to her second in command, Acting Chief Chris Davis.
I want to be clear that what we see as professional police officers in this video from Minneapolis does not represent in any way the values or the standards of our profession. Policing and protests takes on a whole new dimension, though, when the protest is about the police. In general, we try not to be involved in those unless we absolutely have to, just because we recognize that the visible presence of police officers could be triggering.
Tonight, we got a joint statement from metro area law enforcement. This includes Portland, Port of Portland, Tualatin, Tigard, Sherwood, Forest Grove Police, and the Washington, Clackamas, and Multnomah County Sheriff's offices. The statement says, in part, quote, "We stand together as law enforcement professionals in the Portland metropolitan area to condemn the tactics and actions demonstrated in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is our job to protect life and increase public safety within our communities. The incident in Minneapolis does not reflect our value of the sanctity of life or the code of ethics we have sworn to uphold." McMinnville Police also posted a picture of the officer kneeling on Floyd on Twitter, saying, quote, "This is not who we are or what we stand for. We have never trained to do this, nor will it ever be acceptable. We have and will continue to stand with our fellow citizens condemning these types of actions by those in law enforcement who act in an improper manner." They went on to say, "We offer our deepest condolences to the Floyd family and fully expect that justice will be served for Mr. Floyd." We're also keeping a close eye on other protests happening across the country. Gunfire was heard during the protests at the Capitol in Denver, Colorado. Video shows people getting to the ground after the shots were fired. And right now it's unclear who fired the shots. There are no reports of any injuries at this time. Reporting live in studio, Camilla Ortiz, Fox 12 Oregon.